Juan called me. And Jaime had already called me, my son Jaime had already called me and told me, hey mom, I'm going on a mission this weekend, so I probably won't be able to call you. Um, Keep me in your prayers, and I'll talk to you when I get back. They're a day ahead of us. So Sunday morning, I get a call from Juan Sr., their father. And he says, hello, how you doing? And I'm like, I'm okay, what's wrong? And he said, you need to sit down for a minute. And I said, no. You know, he says, well, you know that Jaime went on a mission. And I said, yeah, Jaime's supposed to be coming back today. He promised he would call me today. And he said, well, Jaime's been wounded. I was speechless. I couldn't breathe. I just stood there. I just stood there, and he was screaming at me, hey, hey, what's going on? Are you there? Are you there? Are you there? And I was standing there, I was like, what are you talking about? He's been wounded? Is he okay? I don't know. They just called me to let me know. And I've called in to find out what's going on, but they got the, he's at the hospital. So I said, oh, okay. Obviously at that moment, my best friend Lizzie was sitting in the room with me, and when she saw me lose my breath and just shut up, she grabbed the phone out of my hand and said, what's going on? And obviously he explained what was going on, and she pushed me to sit down. And then I said, keep talking, because if you don't, I'm going to die here. And that's when he explained what had happened to my son. He had been shot by a sniper during the mission. He had, my sons are officers, so he was leading his platoon. He had the radio guy with him, he had the medic with him, he had one other person with him and himself. There was a group of 4. And at the point where he had been shot, they had been going around in circles, it seemed. They were lost. They couldn't get their directions. Everything was blocked, because they can block the means of communications for the soldiers that are out there, so that soldiers feel lost. And until they can get, and when you're an officer, obviously you have to carry your rank on your clothes. And he was bringing up the rear, and they took him out. So when they turned around to ask what was going on, my son was on the floor, and he got up. He didn't know he had been wounded. He got up and he said, damn, what the hell was that? And the medic saw him, and he was bleeding. He said, you've been dead, you've been shot, you've been, wounded. And my son is, what? And then when he looked down, he was bleeding. And so, sit down, sir, with, and after he was wounded, suddenly everything came back up. The communications, everything. So the whatever they were using to block their communications was released, and they were all able to call for an ambulance. My son was, I don't need none of that stuff. Just leave me alone. Let's get back. I said, but you're bleeding. You don't know how. We can't even tell. That thing could explode in you. That it could be lodged. It could ruin your organs, we don't know. You need to stay still. The truck arrived, he jumps into the truck on his own. I mean, he's, being raised this way to, do more than you can. They get him to the hospital. The bullet had pierced his armor and had just barely missed his heart. I have to go tell my father. And I don't want to tell him on the phone because I don't want him to be alone. So I get there, my father is crying and saying it should have been me. And I packed, I didn't pack. Lisi packed for me. And I called my daughter-in-law and told her I'll be right there. Trying to call my mom to let her know what was going on, get her to, my mother is very spiritual and a medium, so depend on her prayers to help my son survive this incident, which I did not know how hurt he was. I couldn't get through. I get back to where I live, which is in town. I get a phone call from him. And he says, "Mom, I'm okay." And I said, "No, you're not." He said, "Mom, I'm calling you to let you know that I am conscious, that I can move, and that I'm okay." And I said, "Okay, I'll be there in 2 days." And he was like, "It's okay, Mom. Don't worry about me. I'm really okay. I'm fine." I get to New Jersey to have her, stay in New Jersey because that's an international airport, because I was on my way to Germany, and I was on my way from Germany to Israel, and I was on my way from Israel with my daughter. I was going to get to the hospital, and I was going to pick up George Bush on the way. That's how angry I was.